双双下，第一题要准备。
is the only one table tennis player.
Our goal vital to the stability of the country.
Give you the opportunity to, play the ball whenever you want.
走。图像会演播时声音渐弱。
Hello, welcome to Sports Scene. I'm Tracey Holmes in Beijing. It's been a travel to...
My name's Tracey Holmes. I'm from Australia. We've been living in China for almost a year now, and at the moment I'm working for China Central Television and in particular anchoring their sports programs.
Coming up, True Belief, new head coach Jose...
Tracey Holmes has spent more than 20 years in the media industry as a presenter, specialising largely in sports. She began her career with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation and was appointed the first female host of its national sports program, Grandstand. This is the second time Tracey has joined CCTV News. The first time was in 2005, 3 years before the Beijing Olympics.
The studio seems really quiet, but actually you can hear everything that's happening in the control room out here. You can hear the director calling shots, when to roll camera, when to jump to the next tape, telling me when to stand by, giving me a countdown during the ad break, so it's quite busy in your ear.
Always radiant and confident in front of the camera, how is this TV presenter off screen?
My husband, Stan, works for CNN and he's the senior correspondent at the bureau here in Beijing. Our youngest son, Jesse, lives with us and goes to the Western Academy of Beijing, which is an international school.
He has a top team under Captain Morris Rioli, and many will make me a Bell Scout take more than a passing interest.
It's our second time in China. We also lived here in 2005, 2006, and we lived in Hong Kong, China 3 years before that. And before I go to work, I like to check a couple of websites to see what news has happened overnight in sport and news generally. This is the ABC, yeah, Contact Sport. That same bloke does it, that does... Yeah. So I'm going to be listening to stories here on the BBC, and my husband's listening to stories here on the TV, and I've got the newspaper here. You just wish you had, 6 ears and 6 eyes so you could do everything at once. Oh, bye, darling. Love you.
Love you.
Hey? 9:15.
Oh, it's on half an hour.
Love you. Bye. Have a good day. Bye, Jess. Love you, darling. Love you. Okay, have a good day. Okay. Bye. 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 Today is a Sunday, so going to work it's not too bad. There's not so much traffic early in the morning. It's about 9:20 now. So maybe it'll take about half an hour, but some days it can take more than an hour.
Stay home.
Sleeping.
No, my uncle is calm. Mahjong. You see, Mahjong.
Ma.
Mahjong.
Ah, Mahjong. I thought you were talking about Mr. Ma. Before the Beijing Olympics in 2008, every now and then there'd be some stories about China inside, maybe on the sports pages. These days, China is on nearly every page. And even on the front page here, there's a story about China and sport. This is a global newspaper, so it's fascinating. I've just got this idea about an interview that I'd like to try and get. It's Sebastian Coe, who is the head of the London Olympics. He's always a good interview, so I'm just trying to find the person that travels with him that looks after all of his appointments. And I have so many contacts in this book. I've actually got several books with, you know, just numbers and numbers and numbers that I've been collecting over the years. So I can always find people. Be careful, I can find you. Thanks, Wong. I'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
Bye, Wong. I had this idea, Sebastian Coe was at the Universiade. I don't know if he's still there, but if he's still there, do you think maybe we could do an interview in the afternoon show? We can do a telephone interview with him. Yeah, yeah. So should I try? Okay. Yeah, a typical day we start at about 10 o'clock and we have a quick chat about what are the main sports stories. We sort of know because we're following it every day. We go through those stories, we rewrite them or we proofread them, make any changes that are required. We go through the footage, make sure it all fits together, and then we present the programs. The first day I did anything for CCTV was actually outside. I was going to do an interview. The cameraman was Chinese and the producer who was there was Chinese, and I'd never met him before, so I met him in the interview room. And I remember the first thing I said was, oh, what sort of microphones do we have? Do we have two of these little clip mics or will we be using handheld? And he said to me, we're a very professional organisation, you know. And I said, yeah, I'm not doubting that. You know, I know you're a professional organisation, but I'm just wondering, because I haven't worked with you before, what we'll be using. And so I think maybe there was a bit of tension from the start. He didn't quite know what my expectations were and I wasn't sure what to expect. But in the end, we did the interview and it went to air and I was part of the team. 2 volleyball, yeah?
Basketball.
2 basketballs?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, the second one's just the sound bites, yeah.
总体来说，跟他出去就是会比较累，比较辛苦，因为一般他是一个很就是工作狂嘛，然后他一般就是见到选题，那么他就要拍，他就只要他看到他认为有价值的新闻，他就要做。
Part of understanding the country you're living in is to work with the people whose country it is.
我们的技术水平和他的以前所习惯于接触的或者磨合的或者配合的那种技术水平是有区别的。所以在国外很简单的实现的事情，或者是说，很有想象力或者发挥的空间的一些事情，在这边是可能是要低于他们的期望值的。
Their only time available is
oh no
11 and 18 GMT.
But we can't because we're supposed to be doing a discussion with the 3 of them. You know.
I know.
So there's no other studio facility we can use if they don't have this one available?
I'm still checking. I'm still waiting for an answer.
At 7:30 in the morning? I can't believe it. I think they just don't want to go to work early.
有的时候呢，可能我们的这经验或者精力或者是能力呢，还是有欠缺的，所以说配合上面呢，可能会达不到他的要求。但这个时候呢，他就会坚持。
It's a final judgment, then
we can't do it.
Then the discussion wouldn't be possible.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's all. That would be a real shame. I'm sure they have a room available at 7:30 in the morning. I can't believe all their studios are full at 7:30 in the morning. They just don't want to go there. I am one of those people who, if I have an idea and we will see it through, then I will really see it through. I'm not going to give up halfway or 1/10 of the way. I will really see it through, and it doesn't matter how many hurdles people try and put in front. I'll just jump over all of them or knock them all down or go around them or whatever it takes to try and make it happen.
我们需要的是在水平上、在专业程度上、在眼界方面、在经验方面都要比我们高的这样的人，所以说肯定会存在着一些的看法或者习惯上的不同。但是遇到这种情况的时候，我们尽可能的去尊重他们提出来的不同想法，然后呢再去判断他们的想法具不具备可操作性和有没有道理。如果要是有道理、具备可操作性的话，我们会全力支持。
CCTV News, the channel that I work for, is a global audience, the same as CNN that my husband works for. Yet the global audience he thinks of is very different to the global audience I think of, or CCTV thinks of.
I see China from outside. I see China from the perspective of being a Western reporter, always looking out in. She's looking inside out.
We come at something from opposite sides.
I sometimes see frustration, and she sometimes sees opportunity.
I think we both learn from each other.
She has the benefit of knowing the system from the inside, of also getting to know Chinese people in a very close, intimate way.
It's about 4:15 and I normally head off about now to go and have my late lunch, early dinner break. And just by the train station over here, there's a lady that sells cold noodles. It's 5 kwai, which is, you know, less than $1, and they're really beautiful. Ni hao. Ni hao. Just one.
在这吃？
对。
我给你收一下，撒一下。
This lady is from Xi'an province. She came to Beijing just with one trolley and decided she would make these noodles at the train station here, and she's very, very busy every day. There's always a crowd. I think people are always interested when they see a foreigner eating street food, but I don't know why, because it's really good. Have tissue?
好长时间没来是吗？
听不懂。
听不懂。
我去澳大利亚。我去澳大利亚。
啊，去澳大利亚。
对，
上次一个小姑娘在这儿，她是我女儿。
你的孩子？
哎。
哦 ，Yeah, very good， 很好。
她是老师，她是老师。
Yes， 老师，英文。
她是老师，她回家了，她赶回家之后想见你一面。
Yes, I know。
没见着。
啊。Sometimes it's not so much about language, but about reading somebody's face or hand movements or the way they repeat something. You can figure out generally what people mean. I think that's part of the fun of eating in places like this and being involved in a culture that is so different to your own, and to not be afraid of that, you know, to really give it a go and just experience it, because they're the sorts of memories that you take home with you.
When I first came here, I thought, wow, it's so big, it's so dynamic, it's going to take me forever to learn everything about this city. I haven't learned everything about the city, but I was surprised at how easy it was to get to know.
So this is the scene I really like about China. Behind me there's a man, he's sitting in his pyjama pants, he's having his cup of tea outside his house. He's got his little bike next to him, packed with all of his belongings. I love that. It's personality here on the side of the road, you know. It's lotus root, the bud of the lotus flower. I love this. I love it. Ni hao. So the street we're going to go down is this one. And it's just really beautiful. It's very creative. There's lots of arty things down here, and it's old, but they've made it look new, you know? So it's Nanluo Guxiang. is a really old part of Beijing. It's inside the second ring road. So it's old, but they've made it new. I really like looking at the architecture. I like looking inside the little alleyways and inside the little hutong houses. But mostly it's the people.
You can see an old man just sitting by the side of the road doing what he always did. You can see children running in the back streets. You know people live here. This isn't just a fake tourist area. This is actually where people live.
You feel like you're immersed in it. You're part of it. You're not just standing outside looking in. That's typical Beijing scene, you know? Typical Beijing alleyway. There's a famous movie, Beijing Bicycle, and it's just like that. You can't learn a city unless you walk it, because in a car or a bus or any other way, you miss too much of it. Jesse normally has for lunch, he likes having wraps and he loves tuna. Since the day he was born, he just loves tuna.
Oh, it's getting stuck on the edges.
Are you using all of that tuna?
Yeah, I always do.
So you don't want carrot? So we normally have lettuce, carrot, cheese and tuna. You saw when he made his own lunch, he doesn't put carrot. Then he takes some fruit, muesli bar and some yogurt.
Yes.
Thanks, Jess. Well done.
Checking.
Okay.
I'll wait out here and then we'll come back.
Okay. Family is very important. If I'm not working, same with my husband, we're with the family.
That's one thing you can usually afford.
See you, darling. Ow. Here we go. Have a good day. Bye, darling.
Bye, Jessie, darling.
Bye. I think the one thing you need to be very aware of is it's very expensive to send your children to school. Well, some of the most expensive in the world. You'd be looking at about $30,000 a year for like a 10-year-old. And each year they get older, the fee goes up. Right, yeah.
Besides her involvement in the electronic media, Tracey is also a published author. She's now doing doctoral research on the relationship between sports and politics.
Great. All right, thanks a lot, Melinda. Yeah, a lot of these, some of these books in here are Stan's, and a lot of the ones here are also mine. For study, and others are just for general interest and collection of things that we like to read. We're always reading something. This book is written by an academic in England whose name is Ellis Cashmore, and it's about, it's called Making Sense of Sports. And his writing is very good and very thorough, but some of the stuff I'm looking at the moment is and basically when did sports become political and for what reasons, and you know, ideology that's always placed on big events like the Olympic Games. Hello, pussycat. Meow. Come on. Just... Noah, what are you doing? Come here. Sometimes he sits with me while I'm working. Hey, you're a naughty boy.
Yes, but he's learning. He's learning to be good. Because he was very wild when we found him, and he's only maybe 2 years old when we lived in the Middle East. And he was tiny and he was starving, and he followed my son home on my son's bike. My argument is that the face of sport is going to change. The power of China as a nation and a rising nation, of course it's going to influence sport in so many ways. Every sport wants their sport in China, or at least followed by China. That's why you have teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona coming here. You know, LA Galaxy. That's why you've got the NBA here, because everyone wants the Chinese market. Morning. Morning. Shi, we have Sebastian Coe.
Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
At for the 15:30 show. So this guy is with him, Giannis,
Right.
and that's his number in Korea. I've been quite lucky because I've been covering the Olympic Games and world's major sporting events since 1989, so a very long time. I've covered, London will be my 9th Olympic Games, so I know most of the people at the top of world sport, so I know how to contact them at about and add on 1 hour. I'm writing some questions for this interview that I'm doing with Sebastian Coe. He was a former Olympic champion, world champion. He's now head of the London 2012 Olympic Games, and he's also vice president of the World Track and Field body. I'm asking him mostly about his re-election to track and field and his plans for beyond London, but I'm trying to think of a way of weaving in, you know, the recent riots in London and how even the very best laid plans for an event of that magnitude can sometimes go awry for things that you really don't expect, and how that impacts on him as a man and how he does his job. So I just have to think for a second. CCTV news has just grown so much and improved so much, and I think it plays a really important role. Yes, I understand it's run by the government, but so is the BBC in England, so is the ABC in Australia. You know, every country has one. Sometimes what you're going to get on CCTV you will never get anywhere else. You just won't. And so that's a really important voice for the world to be able to hear. Hello, thanks for joining us on Sports Scene. I'm Tracey Holmes in Beijing. Sebastian, thanks so much for your time. And many people outside track and field thought perhaps that it was time for some...
像比如说今天我们要采访 Sebastian， 那个伦敦奥委会的主席，如果没有 Tracey， 我们完全做不到这一点。
他特别的敬业。就是从前一阵子的这个上海世锦赛就可以看得出来。
跟他出去的话，一天就要拍3至4条出来，然后呢，就每天给家里面传至少2条新闻这样子。
对于一般的我们的这种工作量来说的话，是超负荷的。
他做事情也是就特别快，就比如说我们出去采访的时候，然后一般他走得特别快，然后我跟摄像在后面就使劲追。
I know sometimes my mind races ahead and I just expect everybody else to be there as well.
从他身上可以学到很多的东西嘛，就比如说采访的一些经验，还有他问的问题就是他的问题的技巧，他问问题永远是跟其他的媒体是不一样的，并且就是他问问题的时候，运动员啊什么的，还有教练啊、新闻官啊，都是很愿意去来接受采访的。
I think if someone is coming to China and they'd like to work in Chinese media, I mean, really give it a shot, because that's what so many people here did. Some people came here with experience in the media from their home countries, but a lot of people started here just on the subs desk and in other places and learnt the craft before moving on to other positions inside Chinese media. And I wouldn't want to tell anybody, you know, when you come to China, if you work in Chinese media, it'll be like this and it'll be like that, and it won't be, because everyone's experience will be different. But I think if you can come in with an open mind and want to contribute, you will be rewarded equally, you know, in friendships and understanding and a life experience that you can't do any other way.
There's so many beautiful parks in Beijing, and in all of the parks, I mean, after we play ping pong, there's like that little gym equipment that you can do exercises on, and usually there's people here singing Chinese opera, there's other people playing instruments, there's a roller skating on the other side, so there's lots to do, there's lots to see. It's just nice to be part of it. We like coming to the park here to play ping pong because, well, first it's just nice to be out in the park. I wasn't even trying for a trick shot. But, you know, so many people come out here and they're all very friendly. They all want to show you how to hold the bat in a different way and how to serve and how to hit backhand, and they're very friendly and it's good. It feels like you're part of the community. One thing the Chinese really enjoy is the outdoors, and they're always doing something outside. Now they've kind of mixed in these new modern facilities with the old, and some people just come and sit and watch and talk, and others come and they're playing games or playing competitions, getting together with other people, and it's nice, you know.
I like that they provide you with table tennis courts.
There's no park you could go to in Australia where there'd be free table tennis courts like that, you know. If you're in a place, you want to experience that place and try to experience as best as possible the way the local people live. Otherwise, you might as well just stay home. Foot massage is such a big part of Chinese culture, and it's become a very big part of our culture too. The first time we went to get a Chinese foot massage in Hong Kong, and we thought, oh, we'll try this because all the locals are doing it. So we sat down, they put it in the hot bath, then they turned us around, started rubbing our feet. It was so painful, wasn't it? And we go,
Every time they touched it, we just moved our feet away.
It's hard.
It's unbelievable.
I think every place we've been to, you know, we went to Xi'an for a weekend, 3 days, to look at the terracotta warriors, you know, various places we go to. Everywhere we go, we find somewhere on the street where we can get a foot massage. You see, I'm taller. I'm taller.
I had a southern gross foot.
Off you go. It's really interesting because when I find myself talking to people back home or in other places who have no experience of China, I'm always defending it. I think because I've had such a wonderful time here, and I think there's a lot that happens here when you live here that you just wouldn't know otherwise. Oh yeah, Hanhao. People have a great thirst for, but what's it really like? You know, what are the people like? What's the language sound like? What do they like doing when they're not working? It's obviously a city and a country that is so on the move, and anything that is moving and growing that quickly has a multitude of complexities and issues that have to be dealt with. And on the whole, things are dealt with very, very well.